Hello, friends. Thank you for joining me in this outdoor energizing flow. We begin today in child's pose, pressing the forehead down into the mat as we lengthen through the spine. Take one more breath to connect and come into this practice before gently inhaling to raise the head and the chest. Plant the right hand down, left comes behind the head. Exhale and we twist, taking our gaze to the side or up at the sky. One more breath, and on your exhale, gently release, planting the left hand, reaching the right up behind. Breathing deeply, welcoming in this day. Taking one more breath here, and on your next exhale, gently return to the front of the mat. We prepare for kneeling cat swan flow, inhaling onto the knees, reaching the hands up. Exhaling, planting the palms, rounding through the back for cat. Inhale, cow, and exhale, slide back into child's pose. Inhale, lift up, reach for the sky. Exhale, round through the back, pressing through the palms. Inhale to drop the belly. And exhale to send the hips back and the hands out front. Repeat this 2 more times, moving with the breath. Inhale, reach. Exhale, round. Inhale, cow. Exhale, child. Finding energy as we match breath to movement here. Working through the spine, taking large, deep breaths. Meeting in child's pose, slowly roll up to seated. And exhale, take the hands behind the bum, lifting the chest and sending the hips up to the sky, finding one nice long line from shoulders to knees. Take one big gulp of air and exhale, plant the hips, reaching the hands in front, trying to rock onto the feet, coming into a yogi squat or malasana. Sending the toes to the corners of the mat, reaching the chest and head up and the hips down. Taking a mental check-in here, the first few minutes of our practice. On your next exhale, gently plant the fingertips, sending the hips up to the sky, toes face forward. Inhale, peel the left arm up as we bend the right knee, finding a gentle twist. Staying here or making a few shoulder circles to warm up the shoulder joint. Exhale to plant the left arm and switch. Beautiful. Keep breathing, warming everything up. Returning back to a forward fold where we walk the hands out in front, making our way into downward facing dog. Taking one spinal roll. On your next inhale, reach the heels up, roll through plank pose into upward facing dog. Big inhale. Exhale, send the hips back. Ground through the left leg, raising the right and taking it outside the hands into twisted lizard. Coming onto the outer edge of the foot, using the hand to help guide the knee open even more. Taking nice, deep breaths in this pose as we open up through the hips, finding space. Coming in through our low lunge to lift the chest and reach the left arm back for the ankle, pulling the foot as close to the hips as we can, lifting up through the crown of the head as we send the pelvis down, opening up through the quadricep. Taking 2 more full, energizing breaths in this posture. And releasing the foot, tucking the toes to come into a high lunge. Sweep the hands behind the hips so the chest meets the thigh. Finding your strength here, squeeze everything. Then frame the foot, step back into our downward facing dog. Grounding through the right leg, raising the left behind, and repeating on the other side. Coming into our twisted lizard shape, opening up through the inner groins. Meeting this day with new energy and a fresh perspective. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. So think about all of the opportunities that await you. Coming back through our low lunge to reach back for the ankle, pulling it into the hips. Spine is nice and tall. We take a few more breaths, grounding down through the left foot. Take a moment to see if you can notice the energy flowing inside of you as the heart pumps blood to the organs, as we breathe deeply, sending oxygen to the brain. Releasing the foot down, coming up into our high lunge. The chest is down by the thigh, but we're not dumping into the hips here. We're nice and active in the legs. One more breath. Exhale, frame the left foot, step back to downward facing dog. Take the right leg behind, the knee in through the chest, and come into our high lunge, arms overhead. On your exhale, pivot into our reverse warrior, but grabbing a wrist first. And then dropping the back hand to extend this stretch overhead. Turning to the side of the mat, toes point out, and we release into goddess pose, sinking the hips down. Keeping the hands overhead, fingers are spread wide, palms face forward. Gather up the energy in the hands, let it travel down the arms, through the chest. Inhale to straighten, turn towards the back of the mat, high crescent lunge. Beautiful. Exhale to pivot on the back foot, reaching back with the wrist. And releasing the wrist, letting the left hand float down the leg. Coming back up to the side of the mat, nice 5-star pose, and exhale into goddess. This time taking the hands to heart center, feeling the friction and the heat between your hands. Breathe it in. Inhale, reach up, and exhale, step up to the top of the mat, feet hip-width apart, sinking into chair pose. Slightly tuck the tailbone in, sitting like we're sitting in a chair. One breath. Then inhale to straighten the legs, and exhale, come into half chair, crossing the left leg over the right knee. Feel the glutes and the balance and the strength that we're creating. Inhale, lift back up, and exhale, sink into chair. Hold here. Inhale, straighten, and exhale, half chair on the other side. Connecting to your power. Breathe deeply. Release into chair pose, sinking down one last time, maybe coming up onto the balls of the feet. And wherever we're at, slowly sink the hips down towards the heels, making our way onto the bum and into low boat pose, leaning back, finding the balance spot on the sit bones as we extend the legs and hold here. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release, planting the feet and the palms. Take one inhale, and exhale, send the hips up into bridge pose. Coming up onto the shoulders, squeezing the glutes. One nice, beautiful line balancing out the chakras. Breathing deeply. On your next exhale, release the hips, taking the feet out to the edges of the mat. We can let our knees rest together here, or we can gently take supine windshield wipers, letting the knees fall to the sides as we start to slow the breath down. If we've taken the windshield wipers, we want to balance out our sides, and then we can send the feet up towards the sky, straightening the legs and pulling them into the chest, grabbing onto the shins, the ankles, or maybe the toes. Pressing the lower back down into the mat, feeling the support. And bending the knees, making our way into happy baby. Further massaging the lower back as we open through the inner groins. Finding gratitude for movement today. We'll take a little bit of a twisting action, bringing the knees together, extending the arms out, dropping the knees to one side. Inhale back up and exhale the other side. Connecting to the core. Doing this about 2 or 3 times on each side. And then relaxing into a supine twist. Noticing how we feel now as opposed to before we began this quick practice. Taking the knees back up to the ceiling and over to the other side. Allowing our breath to return to its natural rhythm as we end our practice today. Taking the knees back up and into the chest, maybe meeting our forehead here for a little hug, a little self-love. And whenever you're ready, we can rock up to a seated position. Thank you for joining me today and sharing your practice with me. I hope you have a great and fulfilling day. Namaste.